What's up, boys and girls? It's your boy Yanny, aka Old Man Yannis here. Alright, enough of that. What's up, everybody? It's been a while, man. We are now into fall. We are now transitioning into better weather, or should I say, Yeti weather. This is my kind of weather here. This is what I was born for, okay? I already have the natural extra layers that you need to keep yourself from being cold. Like, this is built into my physiological self. I was trying to say something else, but it didn't work. Anyways, without further ado, let's return to the ohms. So, I've taken some time off from social media. There's a lot of different reasons I did what I did and kind of disappeared. But I didn't really disappear. I mean, if you're part of my Discord, you know that I've been alive. You know I've been breathing. You know I've been slumming it up and still eating food. Like, I'm still here, right? I didn't just vanish from everybody. I needed a break. And what had happened was, I found out very quickly, might I add, that when I started to force myself away from my cell phone and from Discord and things like that, that I was coming back to them constantly, and it was becoming incessant. When I would hear a notification, or even when I would turn the notifications off for Discord, I was still checking it. You know, like, I needed to get off of it. So I left the Discords for a couple reasons. There was more than one. I'm not going to lie to you. There was a personal reason why I left the Discord that I was in. But what had happened was something that I didn't expect. And that was that I got a lot more shit done around the house that my wife has been needing me to do. I found that I was healthier. And what I mean by that is physical and mental and emotional. Like, every way. I found that my body was actually losing weight. Like, I don't know if you can tell right now, but like, I have a sweater on and I'm wearing my I gotta show you guys. This is how I dress, right now. This is morning time, but look, like, I don't have that huge gut anymore. I'm kind of embarrassed of these shorts I'm wearing. It's early morning. It is what it is. But yeah, I started losing weight. I started being more mindful of the things I ate and the things I did. It was crazy. Like, it was a crazy experience, and I'm not done yet. I'm going to continue doing this. Instead of taking it so hard, though, and doing it so aggressively, I'm going to kind of, hold on. So, I haven't stopped eating bad food. I can tell you, like, especially yesterday was really bad. I ate a whole bunch of fast food past couple days. But that's because everybody in this house was really sick, man. That's also why I did what I did. Like, I had to focus on my kids. I had to focus on my wife, nurse them, and try to help them back to health and stuff. But anyways, what I was finding is that the longer I was away from my phone, the more shit that got done, the better I felt. And what's crazy is that I found myself, this is going to sound really weird. I found myself feeling the season. Like, when I was away from my phone for a few hours and I would hear that breeze come and hear the leaves rattle, like, I was finding myself like, oh man, it's fall. I was just in a good fucking mood. I was in high spirits. I was away from it. And it was an amazing feeling. So I lost weight, got a lot of stuff done. Just a lot happier, a lot more balanced. Like, I was able to actually think clearly. I wasn't so anxious. And it was amazing. I want to suggest that everyone try this. I know it is not easy because our life A lot of our lives, they revolve around our cell phones, man. They really do. We have our world in here. We connect through these devices, and it's not easy. But I'm telling you, it is totally worth it, and it's real. Like, I got away from this device, and there's some other stuff that was going on that's more personal that I left the Discord for, and that's fine. Anyways, let's get to what I brought you here for and what you came here for. I have an episode on here featuring Heldash, Mad Hatta, Lost Browneyes, Darks, and another random guy. It is a very long episode. I've gone back and forth. I haven't been in my cave for a week. I stopped. We recorded this episode off a whim. It's been 2 weeks since we did it. And I spent about a week messing around with it, trying to fix some audio stuff. And shout out to Darks. Thanks for that program. Really, really helpful. But I went back and forth. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Was I going to... Because the picture quality was terrible, first of all. I don't know why it did that in OBS, but it was not good quality. So I was like, do I just put a stationary image up for this video? What am I going to do? Like... I still haven't truthfully figured out. So what's probably going to happen with this episode is I'm going to chop it. Okay? I'm going to cut it up like salad. And I'm going to put some imagery in there to kind of go along with what we're talking about. Give you guys something visually to look at. And I'll take my screen and shrink it down so that the resolution isn't so jarring to the eyes immediately. And that's what we're going to do. When I get it done, it's probably going to be done by the end of the week. No promises. No, there's none of that. None of that. This episode is about a documentary called Missing 411, though. So, I try to stay away from the paranormal. And what I mean is, like, the last time I got into this whole paranormal conspiracy stuff, you go down these rabbit holes, you go down these things, you start making conclusions, you start making connections that necessarily aren't there, but are. And I had gotten into one about missing people and things like this, and it freaked me out. It really did. Like, I was connecting dots. I was like, okay, wait a minute. So people end up missing in national parks? Like, okay. I was like, mountain lions, bears, whatever, what have you. You know, freaking... random animals just dragging people off to have a little beef jerky snack. You know what I'm saying? And when you hear that somebody goes missing in a national park, you're like, okay, foul play, like murder or animal attacks. I'm telling you all right now, okay? You can find the entire documentary. I think it is on Hulu or Netflix, and it is freaking wild. It's kind of short to me. Like, they could have put a lot more missing cases in there. But the ones that they did pick stood out and are just very disturbing. So that's what I've been on the past few days. And let me tell you, I've been jumpy. Like, I'm super jumpy. Like, I'm looking at, like, last night we was watching some more of this missing stuff from national parks. And we're all sitting in the living room, me, my wife, and my oldest, or my older son. And we hear stuff outside. And immediately we're like, what was that? You know, we're like freaking out. Anyways, here's the gist of it. Dude, so when somebody goes missing, okay? When somebody goes missing, they file a missing person report. 48 hours or something like that. And then goes into a database that police and law enforcement agencies and trackers and searchers can look up and use. So when you're missing, you're put into a database. That's not the case with national parks, which are all over the country. When you go missing in a national park, there is no database for missing people. There's hardly any written accounts. So the rangers at a national park may write down stuff and be like, okay, so-and-so went missing and this and that. And then they put it away, they search for them, and that's it. Now, you may be asking yourself why that's important, because I know I did. Here's why. In a lot of these missing cases reports, there are way too many similarities between each other, between cases. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a state or two apart. The similarities in these missing persons cases are just too much. There's no coincidence there. Like 1 or 2, 3 things down the list that check off that match other cases, coincidence. 4 or 5, an odd coincidence. 6, 7, 8, 9. You get down to like 12 different things that seem to match up across dozens or hundreds of cases. You're like, there's no coincidence here. There's something odd happening. There's a lot of weird stuff that's going on, and I recommend that anybody that is into conspiracies or this kind of stuff watch Missing 411. Excellent documentary. Gist of it goes like this. Most of the time, it's younger children, younger boys, or older women. Also, I mean, to be honest, it's everybody. Like, it doesn't really matter. But there are a lot of similarities. So, one of the weirdest ones is that, well, weirdest aspects of this is that you start to question, like, as you're watching these missing cases or these reports, and you're like, okay, look, there's some fishy shit going on here. I think it was Bob, right? And you look at this character this person that they're interviewing, you're like, nah, Bob's a little too shady. I think Bob did it. You know what I'm saying? Nah. By the end of this thing, you're like, okay, maybe Bob didn't do it because he's acting legit. Maybe it was Susie over there. You do this, and I think it's natural. You're questioning these people just like they are. And then they start giving you the facts of what happened, like the things they found, the clues, the evidence, and you're kind of like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that this kid was found 19 miles away in 6 hours? And he was 3? Hold up a second. So here's the thing. Excuse me. I missed a lot of stuff that I didn't realize I was listening to as I watched these things. An example is, a child went missing, I think it was 1942 or 1954, something like that. He was 3 years old. He went to go play out at the barn with his brothers. They went into the barn. He went around the barn. The mother called the children in for dinner time. The 2 older came in. The younger didn't. She, of course, asked, where's the little one? They said, well, he didn't go into the barn. He went around the barn. Time goes by. They can't find him. They put a search party together. This is, many years ago. They put a search party together. It's cold. It's winter. It's snowing. It's just not good. Temperatures were below freezing. And they go out there. They can't find this boy anywhere. Like, absolutely nowhere. Now, when they do search parties, they have procedures and all this kind of stuff in place that they follow. So they have like a handbook, kind of like a Boy Scout does. And they follow these things. Okay, so they're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to go. And this is how we search for people. They followed these guidelines. They did all these things. They spread out. They fanned out. They stayed in speaking distance of each other so that they could communicate. They could not find this child anywhere. No clothing, no blood, no footprints, nothing. This child just was not here. Fast forward, I think it was the next morning. They were out 19 miles away, up on a plateau. And they find the child face down in the snow. The father was with them. He runs up, picks up the child. The child's still alive. Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, these types of missing, reports happen a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean thousands of them a year. There's way too many of these coincidences. Okay? So when me and my wife listened to that and we're like, oh my God, the child was alive. What happened? Right? Now the guy's an old man, and it's like, when they show him, you're like, holy crap, that's the kid that was missing. What the fuck happened? Right? And I'm going to tell you what the guy said here in a second. First, think about this. I don't know how many of you have children. And this didn't even cross my mind at first. I was like, okay, 19 miles. We're talking 2 mountain ranges, right? They're not huge Appalachian-style mountains. They're big hills, but there's a creek, a big creek. There's trees, barbed wire fences everywhere. I mean, this is farmland. This is rugged land, okay? This child was 3, wearing those old-style slick bottom shoes with no traction. They found him with his coat and jacket next to him in his hand, face down, in the snow, stiff as a board, like he was freezing. But he lived, right? But anyways, for those of you that have children, if you've ever tried to go shopping or the zoo or somewhere with a 3-year-old or a small toddler, you will learn very quickly that they're not lazy. They're just, their legs get tired, right? Me and you, a grown-up adult, we got these big old legs. We got powerhouses. We got brick houses for legs, man. We got cybernetic legs, basically. We can just keep fucking going, you know? And you find out real quick that these kids, that's why we make strollers, man. These kids can't walk that far. They can't. They get tired. They give up. They carry me, daddy, you know, things like that. 19 fucking miles. That's a long way to go, first of all. Second, the terrain that he had to traverse? No. There's no fucking way. Okay? In the snow, in the freezing cold, and in the dark. There were no streetlights. He didn't have a lantern or flashlight or a cell phone. This was not there, okay? This kid was in the moonlight. Which, sure, okay. In the woods. No. The second thing is, why were the trackers 19 miles away without any concrete leads or evidence? Why? That's what my wife picked up. I didn't even think of that. Why the fuck were they 19 miles away looking for this kid? That doesn't make any sense. So, now the question everybody's been wondering. So the guy lived. The kid lived. He's now a guy. He's a man. He's an older man. He still has the clothes that he was wearing because his mom saved him. No blood. No bite marks. His clothes weren't shredded. His pants were shredded, but that was because of the barbed wire. All he remembers is walking through barbed wire fence and then waking up. He remembers nothing. Excuse me? Nothing. He remembers 0. I'm going to let that one kind of simmer and sink in for you guys. He remembers 0. I don't know about you, but if my kid went missing and I picked him up, I'd been like, where have you been? What happened? What time was it? What were you doing? Where did you go? What happened? Tell me more. What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? I would not let it go. I would be like, you are 3, and I'm going to ask this from you for the rest of your life. Where were you? What has happened? Tell me all the infos. Kid remembers nothing. 0. Then the mother says that they didn't want to ask him where he was because they didn't want him to be afraid of the dark and to make him fearful of going out and playing anymore. That's either the most brilliant parental thought or the weirdest cover-up I've ever heard in my life. That's fucking weird. You're telling me that your son went missing and ended up 19 miles away in like 6 hours? Less than that, maybe. I think it was like, I don't remember, but there was no fucking way. Like, even the guy that was doing this documentary was like, there's no way that even I could walk that far over this terrain in the fucking dark with no light and make it there. And then you don't want to ask? Oh, well, where'd you find him? Oh, he was up on the top of a hill. He's face down in the snow. Okay, well, go in there and get your homework done, son. Go ahead and take a bath. If I catch you outside again, I'm whooping your ass, son. Go to bed. Good night. Excuse me, no. That's fucked up. Second problem. There's another account of the story, but it's different. They said they found the child in a ravine, in a creek bed, down in the bottom of that shit. Okay, so there's two accounts, neither of which the man understands or recollects. He just knows that he was found in the snow. No. The weirdest account of all of them, the one that creeps me out the most, the one that I've had a hard time letting go of the past few days. Man. So, a child and his father were at home, and this kid was also about 3 or 4. Friend of the family or a family member or the mom, I can't honestly remember. I should probably get my facts straight next time I do this. There was a Christian meetup at this lodge that this guy worked at. He worked at like this lodge. The kid, he got to work with his son. His son was basically there all day while he worked at this they sold everything for this lodging area for people to go on vacation and stuff out in the mountains. So the guy worked at the shop and owned it or something, and his kid would play, and everything was cool. It was a great life. They lived in a beautiful area. He lets the kid go because they're going on a trip to hike just through the big trees and stuff. Not a big deal. When you live in an area like that, that's kind of a normal thing to do. You go on hikes. I used to do it a lot where I lived, and I took my little ones along with me and stuff like that. Now, this lady, whether I don't remember if she was the mother, I don't think so, but she was like a very close friend of the family or something like that, or she was family, and they had gone on many hikes. Not a problem. The kid gets ready, runs out the door. They take him on the hike. As they're walking through this trail, the lady that took the child with them, there's a lot of adults there. They look back, he's not there. Like they said literally 1 minute he's there. The next minute they look back and he's no longer there. Again, now if I heard this and this was my child, I would be like, where the is my child? Like, I would be like, you and all of you ain't leaving this fucking park until we find my son. That's how me and my wife would have been. I would have been like, none of y'all are leaving here without whereabouts of my child. I don't give a shit if you got jobs, if you got medicine to take, ain't none of y'all leaving this fucking area until we find my boy. Dad didn't know about it. Dad wasn't there. He was at home. He finds out. They spread out, right? They're looking for this kid. They're calling him out. They can't find him. He just literally was there. They turned their head for a second. He was gone. No sounds, no screams, no nothing. And that is one thing that you're going to find in that a lot of these cases, that the initial immediate people that these children or people are with, they don't hear anything, right? They're walking or they're doing something and they're just gone. There's no clothing, no struggle, no fight, no screaming, no nothing. They're just fucking gone. Right? A little kid getting snatched out of the woods by a mountain lion is going to scream bloody fucking murder. Okay? I don't give a fuck who you are. You're going to make noises. Even if you can't talk, you're going to be kicking shit. You're going to be crunching every fucking leaf under your damn feet like it's a Cheeto bag. It's going to make noise. You're going to make sure that you don't get carried away. Nobody heard the kid. They search for him, can't find him anywhere. They go and get the father. The father is fucking hysterical. Like, he was the most genuine out of all these interviews I saw. He was absolutely fucking hysterical. He still cannot talk about it without freaking out. He drives up to that fucking mountain. He goes, I drove faster than I know anybody should have driven that road. He drives up that fucking mountain. He gets out of his truck. He starts running down this fucking trail and immediately realizes how hard and rugged this trail was. He's like, wait, this is not going to work. He's like, I got to get a search party. They fucking look everywhere for this boy. They can't find him. They bring out search dogs. They bring out a fucking helicopter. They are fanning this entire area within an hour of this kid missing, or an hour or two. They can't find any fucking clue, anything related to this child. He's just fucking gone. And this is the same with every one of these encounters, every one of these stories on these national parks, is that they immediately bring out the search dogs, the helicopters, all this kind of shit. But I have a question. Okay? Because a lot of these are recent. Like, there's some from this year. Why the fuck aren't we using, like, drones with, like, I don't know, thermal imaging instead of a fucking helicopter? Like, you're flying up there, you're like, I see a lot of trees, Jim. We're going to circle around and look at them again. Like, and I will admit that some of the helicopters used thermal imaging, but found nothing. They found all the wildlife, they found animals and all this kind of shit, but no fucking child, right? The search dogs. These dogs are bred, trained, and they live to find human beings. These dogs can find a dead body underwater. Think about this for a second. A dead body that is giving off gases, tiny, minute bubbles, right? That we as humans wouldn't even notice in a lake. These dogs can see that scent and take them right to it and be like, there's a dead body right down here, Jim. Right down there. Look. Like, you know, and alert the humans. They can also find them in snow. This is what they do. These dogs find people. That's what they are fucking bred for. Okay? So you're telling me that every one of these fucking hundreds of cases and thousands of cases, these dogs can't find nobody. Ever. In these national parks. Not one fucking time. Nobody can find the child. So, now I'm trying to pick up and figure out what it was. Man, this one is fucked with me. And if I get it wrong and I mix some of these together, it doesn't really matter. They're all the fucking same. Like if I mix two missing person cases together, honestly, they're all the fucking same. They're identical anyways. All of them. So they call it the search party. They can't find anything. There's nothing to be found. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. They eventually give up. The guy drives up there all the time. He's always up there trying to find his son. Just nothing. There's no shoes, no clothing, no blood, no nothing. Okay? So, we fast forward now. I don't remember if it was a year. I watched a lot of cases, so they're all kind of mixed together in my head, but oh man, a lot of times in these they'll bring out some National Guardsmen. Okay? They're not armed. They're prevalent in the community. Okay? So they bring them out. They help join in the search. You have citizens, just regular citizens that come out. They help search. Hundreds of people. A lot of these times there's 200 plus people searching for an individual. This particular time, the Green Beret came out with weapons and they made a base, a makeshift station, if you will, and joined the search party. Now, the reason that this is weird is because from how I understand it and from what I've researched, that the Green Beret is not supposed to tell their missions. They're not supposed to talk. They're not supposed to, you know, they are secretive, to say the least. Why were the Green Beret helping to look for somebody, a missing child? That's weird. Okay, that no matter what story we're talking about right now, like that's a unique part of this and a unique key factor. That's weird. Okay? Sure. Maybe they was in the area just flying over and they saw the people searching like, let's help them out. No. They weren't stationed there. They flew in there. I think they showed up 2 days. It took them like a day or so to get everything and to come there and to do that. The FBI shows up. They don't do anything. They just are monitoring the situation, is how the FBI agent put it. I'm just here to monitor, nothing else. So, they won't tell the father anything. The park rangers had told the father, if we hear anything, we will let you know. You'll be the first to know. We'll tell you everything. We'll keep you in the loop and keep you updated and let you know what's going on. He doesn't hear a fucking word. He doesn't hear shit. Not one time did he hear anything. Except towards the end. So, miles down the road, or a mile or so, or a few minutes, no, not miles, a few minutes on a different path, okay, an adjacent path down the hill. Actually, hold on. We're going to do the creepy part first because this is how they did it in story 2. So there was an older couple that were up closer. There was a huge rock face, okay, gigantic. This older couple is up there. They're hiking. They're looking at it. They're taking pictures and stuff because it's called Devil's Nest or something like that. So they're taking pictures. They're touring the area. And they hear this child. They hear like somebody talking or something or yelling. And the guy's like, did you hear that? So they do what anybody would. They get quiet, right? And they pull out the binoculars. They're looking up there because they see movement up on the fucking rock face. There's a kid on a ledge. We're talking hundreds of fucking feet in the air up this fucking rock face. And the kid gets, as the person this is how the person explained it. The kid got yanked back. So the kid's standing out there looking down at all these people and stuff in this national park. The kid gets fucking yanked back, and they're like, why would this was their reaction. They're like, why would anybody take their kid up on that trail? Why would anybody do that? That's idiotic. So they left, right? Didn't report it or nothing. They go home. They see that kid missing. And they're like, holy shit. They go and they report it. The FBI agent takes their statement. Nothing happens. Down the opposite side, on the other adjacent trail down farther, this couple was walking and they heard a kid scream. They saw a man, what looked like a very huge man, they put it, a very large man, just kind of running in the forest through the trees with something on his shoulder. They said he was carrying something. He was like this, and he's running through the woods. They didn't say he was Bigfoot. They didn't say he had hair. They didn't say any of that. They just said a very, very large man, 12, 13, 14 feet tall. Huge, gigantic person running. And they said they heard the most blood-curdling scream they have ever heard in their lives. Excuse me, that terrified them. So they immediately run. There's no cell phone service. They immediately run and they call the police. The police get a hold of the FBI agent. They say, okay, we'll meet you there and we'll show you where we heard it. The FBI agent's reaction was very fucking weird. He goes, don't worry about it. I'll meet you at your house and I'll take your statement. They were like, well, don't you want to hear or see where he was? He's like, no, it's not important. I'll be there. I'll take your statement and we'll move on. Let's take a second to understand the gravity of that. You're telling me that you as an investigation person, as an investigator, you don't want to see the location. You don't want to try to relive the moments. You don't want to do any of that. You just want to go and write down what the fuck they're saying. Get the fuck out of here. That's shady as shit. So, you got a kid seen on the rock face. You got a fucking kid heard screaming, right? Apparently being carried on somebody's back through the fucking woods. And you got a fucking FBI agent who just writes down the fucking report, and that's it. Right? They go back. Okay, I think it was the father. They went back to search, and the Green Beret, they basically put a no search zone. Like, they cordoned off a huge fucking portion of the woods, and we're like, nobody goes in here. We're searching for it. Mind you, the Green Beret are armed at this time. They are armed. They are weaponed. They have weapons in their fucking hands. This gets more just weird as it goes. So you're thinking to yourself right now, you're like, okay, this is too crazy to be true. You can look up and find all these cases. They're real. Like, this really happened. This kid went missing. They had seen him up on a rock face get yanked back. The other people had heard a kid scream, right? So your natural question is, okay, do the times line up? Does the time frame, the distances and things line up? Because it's kind of weird. How is he way up there, or there's a scream down here? The trails are windy, man. They go everywhere. It turns out that a park ranger that was taking all this down and stuff, a park ranger, okay, did it, and they line up. the distances and things like that perfectly line up and don't make any, like, it's fucked up. So, like, the way that the trails move, so when I say down and I say up, the way that the trails move apparently coincide perfectly if this thing was to take off up a hill and just take off in one direction, like it worked out. The FBI agent says, we're done. There's no more, like, basically they closed the search. Just abruptly. Okay? They take their report of the screaming. The other people call in and say they saw him on the rock face. FBI agent doesn't want anything to do with it, okay? They want nothing to do with it. They just take the report. They fucking leave. The Green Beret pack up. They leave. And it's like it's never fucking happened. Dude, no. I will say that a lot of these cases, as many coincidences as you're going to find or you're going to hear in these stories and stuff, there's too many of them to be a fucking coincidence. There's absolutely too many. And the part that disturbs me the most is that in a majority of them, what happens is that when they first initially comb the area, we're talking within hours of the missing person. Like, so normally, like, they have like this 48-hour thing where if it's 48 hours, you can file a missing report. But in cases like this, when a child just is gone from like a national park, they're immediately there. They're mobilized within hours. They are there searching for this child. Okay, and a lot of times when they're that young, they're in these national parks with rugged terrain, obstacles, everything you name it. So the creepiest part about all this is how they are eventually found. Okay, they find the remains. They find parts of the remains. So at this point, I'm gonna call it here in a few minutes. You guys are probably thinking to yourself, yeah, absolutely, there's a lot of wildlife out there. Maybe a big ass eagle took off with some of these children, as eagles I think can carry upwards of 30 pounds. Okay, cool. Sure, that would explain some of this. Or a bobcat, mountain lion, bear, whatever. The problem with that is these kids fucking vanish into thin air. There's no sounds. There's no screams. There's nothing. If an eagle grabs you, okay, and he's got you, there's gonna be one time where you get to scream. You're gonna eventually have that ability, okay? The part that freaks people out though is that a lot of times they'll comb a certain area, okay? So say there's a fucking huge boulder next to a creek. It's a landmark, right? You remember it very easily. They look at it, they write it down. We searched here. They do it in grids now. So they fan out in grids and shit. They search this area. They come back months, years, sometimes fucking years later, and they will find some clothing or bones in an area that was already searched. Well, what's the problem with that, Yeti? Maybe they just overlooked it. Maybe it was snowy. Maybe it was rainy. Maybe they just didn't see it over the fucking hundreds of times that they went over that exact area. No. Because a lot of times what happens is the clothes are immaculate. The shoes are fucking pristine. There was one case where a pair of little kid shoes, they found one of the shoes sitting between like a rock. Like it looked like the kid had got his foot stuck and just pulled his fucking foot out. But the shoe had been there for years. There was no watermarks, there was no mold, there was no mice chewing on it, there was nothing. It was a brand new fucking shoe. We're talking out in the wilderness. We're talking rain, snow, wind, animals. We're talking all of the fucking elements, many elements. And this shoe looks brand new, right? A bobcat drags you. Your shoes are either going to pop off, they're going to have scuff marks. Blood, perhaps? Nothing. Nothing on a lot of these children. Nothing. They found a skull cap. And what I mean by skull cap is not a beanie like Darks wears. What I mean is the cap to a fucking skull of one of these children just laying there next to shoes and a pair of pants. In one case, they found a guy's boots with his pants just like that down at his ankles. Part of his ankles, like where his bones are, like they said it looked like he just fucking melted or whatever, just right into his fucking pants, just evaporated. His shin bone was missing. His arm was gone. His fucking head or what, a part of his skull was like way over here. Like, a lot of these sound like animal attacks. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they legit sound like a fucking mountain lion got him or something. But there's no blood. So you go searching, right? Imagine this. We're gonna use a smaller scenario here. In your own house or at a park that you go to. Your child goes missing, confined to that park, that grid. You search it every fucking day. You fan out. You keep searching. You go farther. You come back, start over, and you keep searching. There's nothing there. The dogs don't pick up shit. The thermal imaging doesn't pick up shit. Nobody finds anything. You have just fucking disappeared. And then you come back a week later, and a dog picks something up where you had already looked. Well, there's the clothes. There's the skeleton. Excuse me? None of this makes fucking sense, man. So then, the guy, actually a few people, what they have begun to do in these cases, is they've started to map them out. A lot of these are like prior police, law enforcement agents, and investigators that are trying to do this. They did a Freedom of Information Act, okay, on a lot of these cases, as a matter of fact. So these investigators would send a Freedom of Information Act thing to these parks and request the information about these missing people. Now, a lot of times they'll give them whatever they have, whether it be a notebook or fucking documents or what have you. They'll receive the information like, this is really fucking weird, what is happening, whatever. On a few particular cases, though, they are met with heavy resistance. And what I mean by that is, one example that was documented was the man reached out to this park and was like, I want this case. Okay, I want the information for this case. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to investigate it. And we're going to go and we're going to find this, what happened. We want closure for the family. The park said no. Okay, that's not how a Freedom of Information Act works. So, like the guy was explaining, you have a couple different types of missing people cases. You have criminal and you have non-criminal and stuff. He gets a call, I think it was the next day, from an FBI investigator. Strange, okay, but whatever. And he goes, I understand that you want this such and such case or whatever. And the guy was like, well, yes, I put in for the Freedom of Information Act to receive this information so that we can get closure for the family. He's like, why do you want it? And the guy on the phone, the investigator, was like, that's not appropriate. He goes, that's not how this works. He goes, I put in for Freedom of Information Act, whatever, and that's not how this works. Like, you don't question me why I want this information. And he goes, well, I need to know. And he's like, okay, well, I want, to help the family have closure so they can move on with their lives and know what happened. And he was like, I'm not going to give it to you. And again, the guy rebutted and was like, okay, sir, this is not how this works, and this is not how the system is supposed to work. The FBI agent doesn't give a fuck. He absolutely would not hand over this case. And so the guy, before he gets off the phone, the investigator or whatever, was like, okay, is it a criminal case? Is there a reason for this? He goes, no. He goes, he went missing, and that's all that we concluded. There was nothing else to it. There was no criminal things involved. We never thought anything of it, but we don't want to give you this case. He goes, and what's kind of weird, if you pick up on what this investigator is talking about, the documentary guy, he's like, the FBI agent kind of said this underhandedly. He was like, you got a lot of cases, but you're not going to get this one. First of all, I'd have been like, how do you know that I've been requesting all these missing people cases? Second of all, why does that fucking matter? Third, why does it matter to you that I don't get this specific case? Now, this would be just kind of written off, I guess, as an asshole or a cover-up or what have you, sure, we can go down that road. We can take it to a heavily conspiracy type route. However, this has happened quite a few times where they try to request information and they're denied. There's no fucking reason for you to deny the information of a missing persons case in a national park. First of all, those are our parks. We own those. They are gifts. They are ours as a country. So when you get into it and you start doing what this guy does, you find out that national parks are controlled by part of the interior or whatever. I forgot what it's called. Like, they are a part of the government, but they are kind of their own entity. And it's just very fucking strange. And why would you not want to give out the information to help find somebody? None of it makes sense. So what ends up happening in a lot of these cases is that the parents that they're with or the people that these people are with that go missing, they're put as a suspect. There's one case that stood out among the others where it was a younger couple that went camping with their grandpa. So you had a husband and a wife. They went with the wife's grandpa and the wife's friend. Now, Isaac, the grandpa's friend, was very unusual. He was a prior sex offender. Immediately, every finger is pointed at this man. You took that little boy because you weren't here, blah, 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 blah. By the end of that fucking interview, even the detectives are like, as easily as it looks like it was this or this, they're like, they show you this other evidence and you're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. So what usually happens, though, is that the parents are put to blame or a family member is put to blame. It just doesn't make any sense. The final thing that is really weird about all this, and I talked to my wife about it, and she doesn't really see too much weird about it, but I do, and even the investigators do. They've noted it many times. Now, some of the investigators don't think about paranormal stuff. Some of them do, whatever. But even the ones that don't take a paranormal or conspiracy type route when doing these investigations are thinking that way. They have all noted that a few hours after the person has gone missing, the weather changes drastically. You're in a national park, yeah, you're going to get storms, you're going to get snowstorms, rain, lightning, whatever. It's the timing and just the pure repetitiveness of all of it that is very weird. It's always a few hours or an hour or so after the person goes missing that a huge rainstorm or something comes through. It's just fucking weird. There is some shit going on. I don't even understand what it is, and I'm usually able to come to conclusions fairly quickly, even if they're not right or they're made up or they're fabricated or just fucking outrageously and outlandish. You know, I can come to a conclusion. I fucking can't figure this out. Like, if a mountain lion grabs you, the one of the park rangers and a lot of the animal experts were like, look, when a mountain lion comes towards you, they usually go for the stomach. I didn't know that. I always thought that a mountain lion would try to attack from the back and go for like the neck. That's what you think. Apparently it's not true. They go for the stomach. So, if that's the case, you're going to bleed out. Okay, there is going to be blood. There will be blood, and a lot of it. If you cut the stomach and start to go at that stomach, there is going to be residue of you everywhere. Never. They don't find any fucking blood. Then, for the cases of the people that are still here and they fucking come back and they're found, it's always this weird, I don't remember. I mean, sure, a couple times, maybe somebody has a memory issue, maybe somebody hit their head, maybe somebody forgot to take their medication. No. One example is this family had gone out camping. There was a very large ravine, like a very large hill. And this woman was older. She was in her mid-20s, late 20s, whatever. And she went down with one of the older gentlemen. She was like, she was a photographer. and they were all there. They're all families and stuff like. It was a big family or whatnot. They go over to this boulder, this little cliff thing, and she says she wants to take a picture. So she asks the old guy. She's like, "All right, will you sit here, and I'm going to take a picture of you staring off in the distance, and whatnot." He's like, "Okay." So she takes his picture. They look down, and there's this beautiful lake that's down at the bottom. I forgot how far they said it was. It wasn't very far. I mean, maybe it would have taken you about 5 minutes to walk down there or something. She walks down there. The old man turns back. He's talking to other people. He turns back around. She's nowhere to be found. Now, mind you, the guy that was there was in view of everybody. He was interacting with them. They were all talking. So she walks down this hill out of view. He sees her walk down there. She's almost to the lake. He turns around. He's talking. They look back. There's nobody there. Immediately, they're calling out to her. No response. We're talking in a matter of seconds, maybe minutes, like a few minutes. They're calling out to her. They're like, okay, you turn around, you look at you, hey, what's up, Bob? Hey, what's up, Jim? Yeah, okay. Oh, she's gone. Susan? Right? That quick. No response. That's the first thing that caught my attention, was that there was no response. There was no screaming, there was no kicking, there was no fighting, there was no trees rustling or leaves or fucking, there was nothing. There was zero fucking noise. Like, I'm the kind of person that I would have been looking for, like, tree branches. I would have been listening for fucking tree branches. I would have been listening for some kind of clue of what direction the person had gone, since it was only a brief moment, right? We're not talking 30 minutes. We're not talking 10 minutes. 10 minutes is far enough for a human to walk to get away a decent amount, right? We're not talking that. We're talking a fucking minute, 60 fucking seconds. Okay, so unless this woman fucking just hauled ass like the fucking Flash in 60 seconds and fucking ended up there, she was found fucking miles away. She was gone for 7 days. 7 days. For 7 days, this woman traveled along the creeks, along the river or whatever it was. She traveled up the mountain, and she was eventually found after 7 days. So as we started with one of the first stories, I guess the first initial question would be, what the fuck happened? Well, you would want to ask her, excuse me, what happened to you? And you expect this crazy story to pop out, right? You're like, oh, this is going to be fucking wild, okay? Because there's no way that you couldn't hear the entire search party fucking looking for you, right? They didn't even have to call in a search party. It was a large enough group of people that they immediately went down to where she was and fanned out and started fucking looking. They called it in. We need help. This is happening right now. Blah, blah, blah. Send help. They are searching for her. The problem with this is what gets me so riled up. The problem with this one is the time. Okay? If, like, you're looking over a field and this person is 5 minutes that way. Okay, maybe not even. Like, maybe 3 minutes. You look at them. You turn, oh yeah, hey, what's up, Jim? She's taking a picture down there at the lake. Look. Huh, Susan? Guys, come here. And they're yelling for her and everything like that. She's in distance for her to hear, okay? If you're at the bottom and you're overlooking this huge canyon, she can fucking hear you, okay? Guaranteed, there's no way. This woman heard or could hear everything that they were saying. She was found so far away 7 days later. It's just fucking mind-boggling how far away she was. And you get to the point to, like I said, you want to know, where the fuck were you? What was going on? What crazy abduction story or UFO story are you going to tell me? I got lost. To me, this is the equivalent of saying you got lost in the ball pit at McDonald's Play Palace. Okay? That's the equivalent for this. For me. You got lost in the ball pit at McDonald's. She said she got turned around. In minutes? In a matter of minutes? You couldn't hear people? You couldn't yell out to them? Because if you're at the bottom of the hill and you can see people, and you get lost around this lake, and you can't remember which way to go up, you're gonna be like, hey, you're not gonna fucking take off and fucking take off into the woods. Nobody's gonna do that. She don't remember a lot of it. She just knows that she got lost and kept trying to walk. And just apparently went the wrong way. Hell no. Hell no. First, let's rewind to end this up, okay? Let's go back to the guy that was gone in like 1942 that's now an old man. Okay. Hundreds of people go missing every year in national parks. This is an issue. One of the guys got a response back from the Interior or whatever, the Department of Interior or whatever it's called, and was like, do you have a missing person database for national parks? The answer was no. After continuously reaching out, all these people across the country reaching out to this place, trying to get information on missing people, they started putting out, look, it would cost $1.4 million to create this database that you're requesting. Okay. So, did you do that? And that's how much it cost? What's up? Like, you want to call? Like, can we talk on the phone and figure this out? Do I need to do a GoFundMe or what? What are we doing here? That's fucking weird. And one of the theories is that missing people reports look bad on public park or national parks, so they don't want to do it. Okay, cool. And so do kidnappings from Walmart and McDonald's, and so do people slipping and falling at stores, but you still hear about it, just like you hear about these missing people cases. So even though if that theory is true and you're trying to save face for national parks, it's not working, and it hasn't worked. People go missing. It ends up in documentaries. It ends up on YouTube. It ends up on Facebook. It ends up on social media. We still find out about it, so your idea is wrong. That is not true. You're not trying to save face by not publishing a database of missing people. That's fucking weird. That's creepy and shady as hell. So anyways, with that original man that went missing and is now a grown man, my question is, why have you not got hypnotized? Why have you not attempted hypnosis or whatever it is to go back and do this? And if it was like, I just keep picturing this kind of guy. He lives an old lifestyle, a farmer or whatever. I don't believe in that. I'm not getting hypnotized with none of this doodads and mysticism and gypsy people, right? I can just see it right now. My response to him would be, sir, by you trying to recall your incident, okay, and you getting hypnotized could possibly save the lives of thousands of people. So let's rethink your decision and let's do this. Let's hypnotize you and try to figure out where the fuck you were and what happened to you. Okay, because there's no way that as a little child that young that you were able to traverse that much land, let alone that kind of land, and get that far away. Then the stories don't add up. There's no fucking way. So these people that they do find, they don't remember shit. They have losses of time. Fuck, there's a story about a guy going missing from like Pennsylvania or New York or some shit, or up, yeah, he goes missing from like the East Coast, ends up in the fucking West Coast and shit. Like, excuse me? You're telling me that you don't remember how the fuck you got across the entire country? No. Like, this shit legit happens, man. It's all over the place. So I definitely recommend that you guys go check out Missing 411, so that way you can get the stories correct and everything and hear it for yourself. It's an incredible documentary. Then you can look up online afterwards and watch some other things about like the guy that does the documentary or the investigators. Excuse me, because there's a lot of other stuff that they do outside of this documentary. They go in depth and stuff. So, fuck, there's even like similarities with names, like last names and first names and color of their hair. Like it's so creepy. There's something going on in national parks that I don't think is a fucking mountain lion or a bear. Okay, because first of all, if you're walking a fucking trail and a bear or a mountain lion snatches you up, I'm sure the other 12 or 14 people that you're with are going to know something. Okay? Or if you go missing and you're 2-3 minutes down the fucking hill at a lake where you can visibly be seen, you can audibly be heard, and you go missing and you start walking miles and miles and miles the wrong direction, something has fucking happened to you. Or the case where the guy was driving a lot, and you'll find in this documentary they don't talk about cell phone location or cell phone tracking, but in a lot of other investigations on the side that touch some of those in the documentary, you do see that they were able to like locate cell phone positioning and things like that. They were able to track certain locations by their cell phone. And some of the craziest parts about that is that they'll like show them using a cell phone right when they get to the national park, and then it stops. Or the guy that it showed his location, he had kept turning around. He kept going down different roads, turning around, and he did that numerous times. So he'd go down a road, he'd turn around, come back, drive, go down a different road, turn around, come back, and then eventually found his vehicle parked on the side of a road in a national park with the keys in the ignition, his wallet, his $400 and something in cash, his credit cards, everything was still there. The only thing that was not there was his self. So that's a very weird one. I mean, I could go on for hours, and this is already too long, so I appreciate it anyways. This has been an hour-long episode of Return of the Ohms. There's some shit going on up in these national parks. I used to love going camping and swimming in lakes, and now not so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want any part of this. You can look forward to some more things, man. It's going to be more chill like this. Be better production. Who knows what it'll be? I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know when I'm going to stream again. I don't really know. I don't know what I'm going to eat for lunch today. I do know, but I have amazing legs. Not so much. So anyways, I am the Yeti, a.k.a. Old Man Yetters. You can check me out on Twitch at Old Man Yetters. You can check me out on Facebook at Return of the Ohms. Check out Darks. Shout out to Dark. Shout out to Final Boss versus the World. He does it big on Twitch. You can check him out over there doing some crazy shit. That's pretty much it, man. I think you can also look out for some CBD reviews. Finally, get down here and get to do that. Some vape reviews. It is what it is. Until next time, as always, don't be toxic. Be mindful.